Knife and gun shows. Occasionally you can find a really good deal, but more often than not, y'all are getting ripped off. We're going to talk about gun shows and finding knives at gun shows, what to look for, and maybe, just maybe, it'll help you to find the next best deal at your next gun show. Let's talk. Used knives are really big at gun shows. You'll find a lot of used knives there. By used, I mean used. All kinds of different things, from the old timers and Uncle Henry's, all the Schrade products. You're gonna see some Camillus out there, all kinds of stuff. And occasionally you can come up with something that's halfway decent. Try not to overpay for it too much. If it's something you're gonna use, you know, how do you know whether something's worth the price tag? If someone's willing to pay for it, then it's worth that. If you're willing to pay for it, to get it, then it's probably worth that. So take a look at each of these used knives and decide for yourself whether it's worth it to you to have it. If it is, then get it. Why not? Well, lots of bugs out here because of all the rain we've been having. Darn mosquitoes. In addition to used knives, you're going to see a lot of seconds. You know, some of the manufacturers will actually sell their seconds. I don't have to explain to you what seconds are, but they're really not ideally suited to be sold. There might be little blemishes or little issues, but they sell them anyway, and they sell them to these dealers, a lot of times knife and gun show dealers, and they'll sell them. And most of the time they'll tell you they're seconds, but occasionally they won't, and that's not right. But take a look at those knives carefully, and because a lot of the knives that you may be paying retail for might be seconds, and the dealer's just trying to make a little extra margin. So check that out as well. And collectibles, you know, you can find some collectibles at gun shows occasionally, some collectible knives. Not very often, but occasionally you'll find something collectible. Now, there are a lot of knives they make thousands of, and no matter who wants to tell you they're collectible, if there were 10,000 of them made, they're not going to appreciate in value. And isn't that what you're looking for from a collectible knife, is that they'll appreciate in value? Isn't that what makes it collectible? Is that what will hopefully appreciate in value in time, or at least you think it will? If there's thousands of a knife that was made, it's not collectible. So don't get it as a collectible, get it as a knife you'll use. But occasionally you'll find something that's more collectible. And when you do, you know, go ahead and snag it if you think it's a good price. You'll also find some brands that are current brands that you can get at a knife store. You know, there's a lot of them. There'll be dealers that go to gun shows, knife and gun shows, and sell brands that are current. Just look at the price. If it's not too much more and you want the knife, go ahead and snag it. What's a knife worth? Again, what someone will pay for it. But you know, you may end up paying a little bit more at a gun show. Consider these folks have gotten the knives and they spent their own money, they paid for the knives, they brought them all to a show, they paid for the table, they set up at the show, in the hopes that you'll come by and actually buy something. So if you see something there, it's a little more expensive. What's the big deal? You know, you go ahead and pick it up. But you know, be a little careful you're not getting ripped off. There's a difference between charging a little more. Hi guys. It's a difference between charging a little more and actually ripping people off. And so check out the price. And you know, you've got something right in your pocket that will tell you what any of the new knives are worth. You can just pull it up right here on any website and see what they're going for and see if it's worth it for you. Also, there's a lot of automatic knives. Autos can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. If the blade is released when you press a button, if it's under tension, unless the button is, you know, pressed and then it flips out, it's considered a switchblade or automatic. They are legal here in Texas. They are legal in a lot of states. Some states not legal to carry. They're legal to own. So if you go to a gun show and you find some automatics, then yeah, they're a lot of fun. Why not? The automatics are great. I love them. There's some out the fronts, something new last several years, I guess now. But there's been some out the front knives that are pretty neat. That's when you hit the button and they come out the end, you pull it back in and they retract. It's called the double action out the front, or OTF. And they're pretty cool. And there's a couple of brands that are in a decent price point, $60, $70, $80. Not the best deal, but also not the worst. You know, usually a China D2 is what's in them. Certainly better than 420HC or some of the other steels that are out there. And occasionally you'll see them in a 440C. There's a couple of different brands. I won't mention any here. You'll see them out there. But check them out if you like them, you like the designs. Why not? You know, you pick one up and they're fun and they're easy to use. And if you work with a knife a lot, they are one-handed, which is really great. We all know that. Darn mosquitoes. Now, it's a genre I don't typically get into. I don't have a lot of fantasy knives in my store or online. We may in the future. Who's to say I don't hire somebody that's really into all of these replicas and fantasy knives and movie knives, and they know what they're doing, and they want to carry them, and you know, as long as they're not too terrible. Not typically something I get into, but there's a market for those. So you're going to see some of those at the gun shows. Fantasy knives, you know, if you're into it, go for it. They shouldn't be all that expensive, although sometimes they're limited editions, and they are. Of course, with any knife, you want to find out where it came from, and you want to ask what's in it. What are the materials? Because that should dictate whether or not it's worth the money they're asking for it. That'll help you determine that, as well as whether it's really a collectible or not. Again, if they made 10,000 of them, how collectible is it going to be? Speaking of where a knife comes from, let's talk about that for a second. You're going to see a lot of knives that are made in China. These days, it used to be everything that came out of China was terrible. You know, Frost Cutlery flooded this country with knives that were made really, really poorly. Darn mosquitoes. But over the years, they've really stepped it up. They're making some very nice, very competitive knives that are really impressive. We have some knives that we carry in our store, artisan knives, WE knives, Civivi, and other brands as well that are really very nice. So you can't discount the China that much. There's a lot of good China out there, and we only put out our good China. We don't carry any of the junk. Oftentimes what you'll find is it's a U.S. manufacturer manufacturing in China and trying to make things as cheap as possible. But let me tell you something. If a knife comes from Pakistan, it's probably not a good knife. Okay, I'm just saying. They don't like us. They're not going to send us their good stuff. It's just not going to happen.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I'm starving. I'm gonna make a smoothie. Wow, that's really good. I think that's the best one I've ever made. Yeah. So about Pakistan, we need to talk more about this. You know, I'm not going to say that Pakistan has never made a decent knife. I'm just going to say that I've never seen one. China's different. China, their technology has gotten to the point where they can produce a very, very nice knife, as good as anywhere in the world. They just, need the budget to be able to do that. A lot of American, U.S. companies will produce in China and not give them the ability to produce better knives because they want their knives as inexpensive as possible because they were from China. But that's changed. You have companies like Civivi, which is a WE knife. What are some other knives? Artisan is one that we carry. Kaiser, we carried them for a time. We're not currently doing that, but we'll probably bring them back. WE knives, we just received a big order from WE knives, so you'll be seeing those online and in the store here in the next few days. A lot of great knives from China, and I mean really good knives in a reasonable price. But there's a lot of junk there too. But Pakistan is not like that. If it says made in Pakistan, there's a pretty good chance that it's not very good. In fact, it could be really, really bad. I'll tell you a story. I went to a gun show. I won't say which one. Went to a gun show, and this gentleman was saying pretty loudly, custom knives, handmade knives. And of course, I had to go over there and see what he was doing. And I asked him. I said, "Well, who hand makes these? Can I meet the artist?" And he says, no, he's not here. I said, okay. I said, well, where are they made? And he admitted, he said, they're made in Pakistan, but they're handmade. Well, yeah. You can see the workmanship in a Pakistani knife. Most of them are Damascus these days. But you can see the workmanship in them as soon as you pick one up. And you can tell. You can tell that they're a Pakistani knife. Now, you might not be able to, but I deal with knives day in and day out every day for 20 years, and I just have to look at a knife and I can usually tell you that it's made in Pakistan. Now, again, that's not to say that there aren't good knives coming out of Pakistan, just that I don't know of any. So if it says made in Pakistan on the blade, or if the person selling the knife admits that it's made in Pakistan, then I would suggest you steer clear, unless you really know what's in the knife and how well it's made, and you're just not going to. So that's Pakistan for you. I hate to say bad things about a whole country. They make a lot of stuff. They make a lot of surgical tools and bandage and suture shears, and we sharpen a lot of their stuff. They make scalpels, just a lot of osteotomes, just a lot of different tools that are used in the emergency room or are used in the for operating on people. And we've sharpened a lot of that in the past. But I can tell you whether it's dental tools or it's surgical tools or knives, they're made really poorly. And I'm sorry about that. I wish it weren't the case. But if you see that it's made in Pakistan, I would steer clear. But at China, check it out. China is not what it used to be. They do make some really good things. So bottom line, you go to a gun show, you're looking for a knife, you can find a decent knife at a decent price. It's a little tough to do, but you can do it. If you find it and it's worth the money to you, buy it. Go ahead and buy it. Don't feel bad about buying a knife at a gun show. I've bought knives at gun shows before, not many, but a few. So if it's worth it to you, then it's a great deal. If you look it up and you find out it's a little more expensive, so what? You can buy it anyway. If it's what you really want and it's worth it to you. If it's not worth it to you, or you feel kind of like you're getting ripped off, you might very well be. Don't buy it. You don't have to get it there. It's tough to find a decent deal at a gun show anymore. It didn't used to be that way, but it is now. And it's even tougher to find good quality knives at a gun show. There's not a lot of people that are carrying the better stuff. But if you're looking for a work knife, or you're looking for pretty much any knife, you go to a gun show, you see something you like, go ahead and get it. I won't fault you for it. Heck, you could bring it by the store and I'll still sharpen it for you. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that. I'm not saying that all gun and knife dealers at gun shows are shady like this. But it does happen. And tomorrow, when you go back to that gun show, there's going to be nobody there. You know, it's not like buying from a store. So, just so you know, you go to a gun show, knife and gun show, you want to be kind of careful. Take your time, look at your phone, look some things up. Make sure that what you're getting is worth what you're paying for it, and that it's worth it to you. And if you do that, you'll have a good time at the gun show. I'll see you at the gun show, I guarantee you. And I'll also see you at the next video. By the way, if you could, right down there in the corner, you see it kind of right down here. There's a little button, it says subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button and then select, there'll come up little options there. Select all. Select all. It's right down there in the corner. Subscribe and then all. And that will get you subscribed and notified when we have our next video. We try and upload these every Wednesday or Thursday if we can. Also, if you would, hit the like button. Just smash the like button and it helps us. And if you leave a comment below, let me know what you think. If you have some ideas of other videos I should do, I sure could use the help, and just let me know. And that helps with our YouTube algorithm as well. This is all new to me. I'm not much for talking into a camera, but I figure there's probably thousands of you out there that might like my videos. So subscribe, hit the like button, make a comment, share it with a friend, and I'll see you next time.